செய்திக் கதம்பம்.
இன்றைய செய்தி கதம்பத்தில் தேசிய கடல்சார் தொழில்நுட்ப நிறுவனத்தில் நடைபெற்ற நிலத்தடி நீர் மேம்பாடு பயிற்சி வகுப்பு குறித்த தகவல்கள், மத்திய அரசின் சமூக வலைதள பதிவுகள் ஆகியவை இடம்பெறுகின்றன. தேசிய நிலத்தடி நீர் ரோபோட்டிக்ஸ் பயிற்சி வகுப்பு 2026 சென்னையில் நடைபெற்றது. வைஸ் அட்மிரல் பிஸ்வாஜித் தாஸ்குப்தா இதில் சிறப்பு விருந்தினராக கலந்து கொண்டார். அவர் பேசுகையில்,
I will start with a few layman comments before I paint a bigger picture of what our strategic vision should be in the maritime domain. You know, if God wanted us to live underwater, God would have made all of us fishes. So since humans don't live underwater or don't live at sea, the focus is largely very land-centric. And therefore, efforts at developing the oceans and developing ocean technologies and various other things related to the oceans have been typically very slow. Now, if we talk about underwater technologies and various other things, let me also talk about, for example, air-independent propulsion. Every fish in this world has air-independent propulsion. We are still struggling with the technology. Another observation that I have is that when you start from the air and come to the surface and go below water, everything slows down. You know, from speed to communications to development of technology, it slows down drastically. So there are tremendous number of challenges that are associated with the underwater domain. And that is, I think, one of the reasons why the underwater technology, the ocean technology, has not proceeded as quick as several other domains. The sailfish is the fastest fish in the world. It navigates at 30 to 50 miles per hour underwater without nuclear propulsion. And here we have the best technologies in the world with nuclear propulsion, and they are barely touching 30 knots underwater. Underwater technology, how long earlier do you think it has been in existence? The heights of underwater technology. And here we are in the middle of the 21st century struggling with the basics of underwater technology. So it requires a strategic vision. There are countries which have done better than us. You know the countries that I am talking about. The technologically advanced nations have done much better than us as far as this area is concerned. But I think it is time for us to also up our game. As we have heard that, the maritime environment is gaining more and more importance as days go by. So I would like to firstly thank the Director NIOT, Professor Balaji Ramakrishnan, for getting all of us together here and giving us a chance to discuss these matters and see what direction our country needs to take, not just in underwater robotics, but overall in the maritime domain, in the maritime scientific domain. So the exponential growth of everything in the maritime domain is something which is called the blue acceleration. You might have read about it. The blue acceleration is over the last 20 years or so. Every endeavor that has been associated with the maritime domain has evolved and increased exponentially. Whether it is offshore exploration or whether it is tourism or whether it is security or whether it is trade, anything to do with the maritime domain has increased exponentially. And there is no indication that this is going to reverse in the near future. So the vast areas that we have above water and underwater remain untapped, and there is immense potential for research, for technology, for manufacturing, for business, for jobs, for employment, everything that you can think of. The oceans are limitless in terms of the potential that they have. And quite rightly, the government of India has launched several initiatives in this direction, from shipbuilding to risk management to addressing pollution and various other things. Now, why I tell you all this is that the reason that we are sitting over here today is that underwater technology or underwater robotics, underwater vehicles, underwater sensors are perhaps one of the greatest enablers of all these developments. And if we are able to harness this potential correctly, I think we will be able to harness the wealth of the oceans and the potential that the oceans have for human benefit. We've heard the director of the Deep Ocean Mission telling us things. We also heard the director of NIOT telling us many good things that have happened in this direction. And I'm sure we will hear more about it from the people who want to speak today and tomorrow. So let me touch upon a few strategic and security concerns. One is that maritime threats are increasing rapidly. And therefore, in every aspect of maritime endeavor, there is some threat or the other. Even in the underwater domain, there are several areas where there are challenges and threats. We have offshore exploration, we have deep sea exploration, we have undersea cables, we have our offshore platforms, we have various other things. And where there is a great contribution of the underwater domain, there is a great potential for underwater technology, and there are also security challenges. In the defense and security area, submarine operations, underwater domain awareness is something which is a matter of very important discussion in the strategic circles today. People talk about the blue economy. What is the blue economy? The blue economy is nothing but your country's economy enhanced by the oceans. That means how blue is your economy is the right question to ask. Every country has an economy, but how blue is it? How much have you involved the oceans in that economy? How much benefit are you deriving from the oceans in the overall economy of the country? So, bluing of the economy is conceptually clearer than a blue economy. So, as far as that is concerned, you are aware that the resources on land are depleting. The world's population has crossed 8 billion. Land resources are inadequate to cater for the future. The population is going to touch 10 billion by 2035. And therefore, unless the wealth of the oceans are harnessed in a sustainable manner, the future is grim for humanity. And therefore, the importance of the oceans, the importance of technology that we can use to harness the oceans and related aspects. Another thing is that underwater robotics technology has its own challenges. Firstly, it is very expensive. There are no economies of scale. Technology is very, very high end, not easily available. There is not enough research being done in our country for underwater technology. In fact, ocean engineering, for that matter. I would like to suggest that we must have dedicated maritime, ocean research, underwater research, oceanic research universities.
இனி மத்திய அரசின் சமூக வலைதள பதிவுகள். சாலையோர வியாபாரிகளுக்கு கடனுதவி அளிக்கும் ஸ்வநிதி திட்டம் தொடங்கப்பட்டு இன்றுடன் 6 ஆண்டுகள் நிறைவு பெறுகிறது. இத்திட்டமானது பிணையில்லா கடன் மற்றும் புதிய வாய்ப்புகளை வழங்கி அவர்களின் தொழில் வளர்ச்சிக்கு வழிவகுக்கிறது. பொறுப்புணர்வுடன் செயல்பட்டு தேசத்தின் பொருளாதாரத்தை உயர்த்தும் சாலையோர வியாபாரிகளை தாம் பாராட்டுவதாக பிரதமர் திரு நரேந்திர மோடி தமது சமூக வலைதள பக்கத்தில் தெரிவித்துள்ளார். ஒடிசாவின் கேசிங்கா ரயில் நிலையம் புதுப்பிக்கப்பட்டுள்ளது. காலத்திற்கேற்ற நிலைய வளாகங்கள், பார்க்கிங் வசதிகள், காத்திருப்பு அறை, மாநிலத்தின் சிறப்புகளை எடுத்துயம்பும் வண்ண புகைப்படங்கள் என சிறப்பாக செய்யப்பட்டுள்ளதாக ரயில்வே நிர்வாகம் தமது சமூக வலைதள பக்கத்தில் தெரிவித்துள்ளது. இந்தியா ஓமன் நாடுகளிடையே பொருளாதார ஒத்துழைப்பு ஒப்பந்தம் இன்று முதல் அமலுக்கு வருகிறது. விவசாய நிலங்கள், தொழிற்சாலைகள், சிறிய வகை தொழில்கள் ஆகியவற்றின் முன்னேற்றத்திற்கு இந்த ஒப்பந்தம் வழிவகுக்கும் என மத்திய வர்த்தக மற்றும் தொழில்துறை அமைச்சர் திரு பியூஷ் கோயல் தெரிவித்துள்ளார்.
இத்துடன் இன்றைய செய்திக் கதம்பம் நிறைவு பெறுகிறது.